Dennis James is a name that carries real weight in professional bodybuilding. Known by the nickname The Menace, he didn't earn that title by accident. On stage, his presence was always defined by dense muscle, extreme size, and a posture that instantly commanded respect from his competitors. Born on May 31st, 1966, in Heidelberg, Germany, Dennis comes from a background that blended cultures right from the start. He is the son of an African-American U.S. Army soldier and a German woman, a mix that shaped both his German-American identity and his international path in the sport. Physically, Dennis was impossible to ignore. Standing at 1.72 meters, about 5 feet 8 inches, he proved throughout his career that size isn't just about height. In competition shape, he weighed around 117 kilograms, roughly 258 pounds, packed into an incredibly compact and powerful physique. In the off-season, those numbers climbed even higher. Dennis would easily reach between 130 and 134 kilograms, about 286 to 295 pounds, while still maintaining muscle density and overall quality, something rare even among elite-level athletes. That's what helped cement his image as a true mass monster of his era. So how did someone built like this manage to stand out among so many giants in the world of bodybuilding? That question drives the entire story of Dennis James, and it's the key to understanding why he became such a respected figure, both on stage and off. Long before becoming one of the most respected names in professional bodybuilding, Dennis James already stood out for his athletic background. As a child and teenager, he was always highly active, naturally disciplined, and comfortable with physical effort. His direct introduction to weight training came at the age of 18, when he began training in a more structured way. Unlike many athletes who enter the sport purely for aesthetics, Dennis showed a competitive mindset from day one, viewing training as a path toward constant improvement and self-challenge. It didn't take long for that dedication to show results. While still young, Dennis began competing in junior bodybuilding contests, quickly drawing attention for his dense physique and unusually mature muscle development for his age. Those early stages served as a testing ground, helping him learn how the competitive side of bodybuilding really worked. Over time, he earned important titles across Europe, proving that his potential extended far beyond the amateur scene. His journey, however, was far from smooth. Dennis was forced to temporarily pause his career because he didn't hold German citizenship, which prevented him from competing in national championships. Instead of ending his story, that obstacle became a major turning point. The year 1995 marked a true breakthrough in Dennis James' career. That was when he won the NABBA Mr. Universe, his first major international title. The victory didn't just validate years of hard work, it put his name firmly on the global bodybuilding map. That title carried enormous symbolic weight. Winning Mr. Universe meant proving Dennis wasn't just another promising athlete, but someone capable of standing toe-to-toe with seasoned competitors on one of the toughest stages in the sport. From that moment on, his focus shifted from regional success to global ambition. 2 years later, in 1997, Dennis made a strategic decision that would change his career forever. He moved to California, in the United States. This wasn't just a geographic move, it was a professional one. Being in the U.S. meant training at the very heart of bodybuilding, surrounded by top athletes, elite coaches, and world-class facilities. The results came quickly. In 1998, Dennis won the NPC USA Championships, one of the most important amateur bodybuilding competitions in the country. That victory earned him his IFBB Pro card, officially opening the doors to the highest level of the sport. Dennis made his professional debut in 1999 at the Night of Champions. Even without a standout placing, the show was crucial in establishing his presence among the pros and proving he had the physical structure to compete at the highest level. The following year brought an even bigger challenge. In 2000, Dennis competed in the Arnold Classic for the first time, one of the toughest and most respected bodybuilding contests in the world. Facing extremely experienced athletes, he shocked many by finishing in an impressive 4th place, a rare achievement for a first-time competitor. That result made one thing clear: Dennis James wasn't there just to gain experience. His physique stood out for its muscle density, massive size, and solid, powerful look on stage, traits that quickly became his signature in the professional bodybuilding scene. In 2001, he returned to the Arnold Classic even more prepared. With physical refinements and greater competitive maturity, Dennis climbed another step, finishing in third place. That progression confirmed that his strong debut wasn't a fluke. It was the beginning of a consistent presence among the sport's elite. From that point on, Dennis James was widely seen as one of the densest and most muscular physiques of his generation. The real test for any professional bodybuilder is the Mr. Olympia, and Dennis James was no exception. His first appearance in 2000 resulted in an 11th place finish, a solid outcome for someone still establishing himself among the giants of the sport. Over the course of his career, Dennis competed in 7 Mr. Olympia contests, which by itself speaks volumes about his consistency and longevity in one of the most demanding competitions in the world. Reaching that stage year after year means maintaining a truly competitive physique season after season, something very few athletes manage to do. His true peak came in 2003, when Dennis brought the best physique of his career to the Olympia and achieved an impressive 4th place finish. That year, he was dangerously close to the podium and was recognized as one of the most massive and dense athletes in the lineup. In the years that followed, his results remained solid. He placed 7th in 2001, 10th in 2002, 8th in 2004, and reached a very respectable 6th place in 2005, showing that he could stay competitive even as the overall level of the contest continued to rise. In the final stage of his career, Dennis finished 9th in 2006, 14th in 2009, and wrapped up his Mr. Olympia journey in 2010 with another 11th place finish. Looking at Dennis James' career as a whole, it becomes clear that his success was built on strategic titles and consistent results, not just a single standout moment. Each achievement marked a different phase of his evolution as a professional athlete. It all began in 1995 with his victory at the NABBA Mr. Universe. In 1998 came what may have been one of the most decisive wins of his career, the NPC USA Championships. Beyond the prestige, that title earned him his IFBB Pro card, officially opening the door to the biggest stages in bodybuilding, including the Arnold Classic and the Mr. Olympia we've already talked about. As an established professional, Dennis went on to win the IFBB Grand Prix Hungary in 2001. Then, in 2009, he made a triumphant return to the winner's circle with victories at the IFBB Tampa Pro and the IFBB Europa Super Show. Finally, in 2012, in the later phase of his career, he earned a 3rd-place finish at the IFBB Masters Mr. Olympia. Throughout his career, Dennis James built a very clear identity within professional bodybuilding. He was always known for presenting extremely dense, voluminous muscles, a type of physique that impresses not just because of size, but because of its solid, full look on stage. Among his strongest body parts, his arms and chest consistently stood out. His arms were thick and heavy-looking in every pose, while his chest showed depth and muscular maturity, adding to a powerful appearance in both front and side poses. Dennis also fit perfectly into the mass monster category, an athlete focused on extreme size. What set him apart, though, was the fact that he never completely sacrificed muscle quality in the process. On stage, his presence was undeniable. Dennis never blended into the background. Confident posture, solid posing, and an attitude that projected strength and control. He knew how to play to his strengths and never tried to be something he wasn't within the standards of the sport. To maintain such an extreme physique for so many years at the highest level, Dennis James had to develop a very clear, and above all, consistent training philosophy. Unlike the idea of long, chaotic, overly complicated workouts, he always stood by short, intense, and highly focused sessions, usually lasting no more than 45 minutes. The foundation of his training was built around simple, effective exercises. Well-executed basic movements, combined with the strategic use of machines that allow for more precise muscle isolation, were always a priority. This approach helped reduce unnecessary stress on joints and secondary muscles, which is essential for anyone training heavy for decades without sacrificing long-term longevity. It was from this mindset that the MTUT method was born, minus time under tension. With this technique, Dennis performs the positive phase of the movement in an extremely controlled manner, taking anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds to lift the weight, while the negative phase is done in a more natural and safe way. The goal isn't to impress anyone with ridiculous loads, but to maximize muscle tension, making sure the muscle is working from start to finish on every rep. According to Dennis himself, this approach dramatically reduces the risk of injury, which is crucial for building a long career in professional bodybuilding. For him, lifting more weight was never more important than lifting better, staying in control, and preserving the body over the years. This philosophy becomes even clearer when you look at his chest workouts in practice. No unnecessary exercises, no overcomplication. The focus was always on control, isolation, and maximum stimulation of the target muscle. The workout usually starts with the hammer strength incline press, chosen because it allows excellent upper chest activation without putting excessive stress on the shoulders. Next comes dumbbell flies, performed in a traditional way, with full attention on technique and range of motion. After that, Dennis goes back to machines with a standard chest press, combining warm-up sets with heavier working sets. Rep ranges vary a lot, from higher reps down to muscular failure, always while maintaining proper form. The workout finishes with cable crossovers, where the entire focus is on the peak contraction. Dennis emphasizes that properly crossing the cables is essential to prevent the shoulders from taking over the movement, ensuring the chest is fully engaged all the way to the last rep. This same logic extends to his weekly training split, which follows the exact same principles of simplicity, intensity, and recovery. The week would start on Monday with chest and biceps, taking advantage of a well-rested body to train one of his strongest areas. Biceps were a natural pairing, already partially activated during chest movements. Tuesday shifts the focus completely to the lower body, training quads, hamstrings, and calves, one of the toughest days of the week, both physically and mentally. Wednesday is dedicated exclusively to back, allowing full attention to thickness, width, and density with strict execution. Thursday is reserved for shoulders and triceps, wrapping up upper body work. On Friday, Dennis returns to chest and biceps again, reinforcing stimulus in those muscles and ensuring enough weekly volume for both growth and maintenance. Saturday and Sunday are rest days, something Dennis always took very seriously. To him, recovery isn't wasted time. It's a fundamental part of the process. Another point Dennis always made very clear is that nutrition was just as important as training. The foundation of his diet was simple, repetitive, and functional. During the off-season, when the goal was to gain muscle mass, carbohydrate intake increased significantly. Carbs were used as fuel for heavy training and to support muscle size, without any fear of eating large quantities. During the pre-contest phase, the strategy changed completely. Dennis drastically reduced carbohydrates and placed even more emphasis on protein intake, aiming to preserve muscle mass while lowering body fat to step on stage lean and competitive. Common meals included oatmeal with whey protein, large portions of chicken with rice or potatoes, as well as lean red meat, sweet potatoes, and vegetables. As mentioned earlier, in 2012 Dennis officially decided to retire from competitive bodybuilding. After decades at the highest level, he knew it was time to step away from the stage, but not from bodybuilding itself. Retirement marked the end of one chapter, not a departure from the sport. From that point on, Dennis transitioned into a role as a coach and consultant, taking everything he learned on stage and applying it behind the scenes. He began guiding other athletes using the same philosophy that sustained his own physique for so long: simplicity, intensity, and well-calculated strategic decisions. Among the most well-known names Dennis worked with is Mamdouh Elsbieh, better known as Big Ramy. Alongside him, Dennis helped refine an incredibly massive physique, focusing on straightforward training and smart nutritional strategies to support extreme size. Another important athlete in his coaching journey was Brazilian bodybuilder Julio Balestrin. With him, Dennis became especially known for his strategic use of carbohydrates, something many athletes underestimate. His approach showed that eating the right foods at the right time can be just as decisive as any training technique. Even after stepping away from competition, Dennis James never disappeared from the bodybuilding scene. Over the years, he maintained a strong media presence, appearing in numerous specialized magazines and regularly being invited for interviews and special appearances. With the rise of YouTube and digital platforms, Dennis became a familiar face on bodybuilding channels, where he shares blunt opinions, behind-the-scenes experiences, and honest takes on modern bodybuilding. His straightforward, no BS style helped him connect with a new audience beyond the stage. Internationally, he has also taken part in fitness and nutrition expos, staying in direct contact with fans and athletes around the world. Away from the spotlight, Dennis has always made a point of showing that there's much more to his story than muscle. Despite his intimidating image in bodybuilding, he is a deeply dedicated father, and he has made it clear that his daughter, Anna, has always been his top priority. Even in retirement, Dennis never distanced himself from the sport. He remains deeply involved in bodybuilding, coaching athletes, analyzing competitions, and closely following the progress of the new generation. For him, bodybuilding was never just a phase, it became a way of life. One thing that really stands out is his attitude toward other athletes. Dennis has always described himself as a true fan of the sport as a whole, genuinely rooting for bodybuilders from different divisions and generations. He sees the collective growth of bodybuilding as something positive, not as a threat. Interestingly, if he hadn't chosen bodybuilding, Dennis says he likely would have pursued a professional soccer career, especially in Germany. That only reinforces how deeply sports have always been part of his life, regardless of the discipline. Dennis James' story offers clear lessons for anyone interested in bodybuilding or even personal development. The first is that well-applied simplicity can lead to extreme results. He proved that you don't need to constantly reinvent training or diet to reach the highest level. Another key lesson is that training hard doesn't mean training recklessly. Dennis always prioritized proper execution, control, and longevity, understanding that an injured body doesn't build a career, let alone a legacy. His story shows that bodybuilding goes far beyond trophies and stage poses. It's about daily discipline, smart choices, resilience, and the courage to stay relevant even after the spotlight fades. If any part of this journey inspired you, it's worth asking yourself, what can you apply from this to your own path? If you enjoyed this video and want to support deep, well-researched content told with respect for the history of the sport, hit the like button now. It really helps the channel reach more people who are also passionate about bodybuilding and real stories of perseverance. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you want to go a step further and support the project more directly, consider becoming a channel member. That helps keep this content going and gives you access to exclusive perks. Now I want to hear from you. What impresses you the most about Dennis James' career? His physique, his longevity, his mindset, or his transition into coaching? Drop your comment below. I read them all. And before you go, make sure to check out the next video already showing on the end screen. If you like this story, I'm sure the next one will surprise you too. See you there.